Hello everyone, TLSG here, back again with another daily Marvel Snap video. So today we have the new season started. We drop new ranks, we have a new season pass, and so with that comes a brand new card. And this month we have Black Panther. And so Black Panther is a 5-cost, 4-power card with the on reveal double this card's power. So earlier on in pool 1 and pool 2, this is just kind of okay. You can do some decent things, but once you start getting into some of the crazier combos of pool 3 with things like Wong and Arnim Zola, this is going to get really insane really quickly. So let me pick up the card and then we are going to draft one of the decks from today's recommendation video, and then we're going to run a couple of games. So I always enjoy days whenever we get a brand new card, whenever the season resets. It's kind of like starting fresh. Everybody is on the same playing field, at least if you were infinite before. You all start back at 70, and so it's really fun to see kind of the way that this new card is utilized, at least early on. And so we did draft a deck around Black Panther, and that is going to be this one. So it's going to be an Electro ramp, or a Thor into a Wong combination deck, or we could even go with a Wong into a White Tiger, Dr. Doom. We can go a wide Wong. We have several paths that this deck can take to utilize Black Panther and the resources well. So if we get Electro, we can drop that, we can ramp to 5, we can drop maybe a Black Panther on 4, into an Arnim Zola on 5, into an Odin in the Arnim Zola lane on 6. That is going to re-trigger Arnim Zola. That is going to push Odin into the both Black Panther lanes, and they're both going to re-trigger Black Panther again. We could also go with a Thor on 3, a Wong on 4, into a Black Panther on 5, and then depending on if we've drawn into Mjolnir or not, maybe we go with Odin into the Black Panther lane, maybe we go with Arnim Zola, or maybe we go with an Arnim Zola into the Wong Black Panther lane to push him over. But this deck has a pretty heavy cost curve, but overall it functions pretty well, and it can disperse the power pretty evenly and pretty consistently. And so with that very brief deck explanation out of the way, if you want to see a more detailed explanation, jump over into the top 5 decks video. I'll leave the link in the description, but we are going to go ahead and jump into a couple of games. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, so next up we have new low score. And in our starting hand, we have our Electro, so we're going to be able to go into that path. We're actually going to be able to play Electro into the Oscorp Tower to force the opponent into only being able to play 1 card per turn, which is going to be good early on, especially if they're building a deck that's not intended to be able to do that. And we also have our Thor playline, so maybe we go, if we draw into Wong, maybe we go into the Thor-Wong play path instead, but we'll just kind of play it out depending on what we draw into and what they end up playing. And so this deck was kind of brewed and created on the Snap.fan Discord. A lot of input came into it from a user named Dunkoro, who has done a lot of great deck building in the past and has done some really great things. And so if you enjoyed this deck list, jump over into the Snap.fan Discord. They're always brewing different kind of ideas and combinations. And then there's also an article on Snap.fan written by Vin Kelsier that also covers some Black Panther basics, some build ideas, things like that. And so I'll leave a link to both of those in the description as well, if that is something you're interested in checking out. So it looks like new low score is running a discard deck list. And so if they are running something that runs a swarm, they're not going to be able to run the swarms because we send them our Electro, which definitely does hurt. We're going to go ahead and play our Devil Dino into Asgard. Maybe we can angle that in a way that we can get the lead in this location. Because if we can swing this by enough, then we are going to get the extra card draw. We're going to stop them from card drawing as well. We unfortunately don't have our Black Panther just yet. We have a couple of good tools. We could do an Arnim Zola, but I think we have a pretty good advantage in the Asgard lane. I think we go with something like a Dr. Doom, and then on the final turn, we can go with an Odin. And so actually, I'm going to play the Dr. Doom into Oscorp Tower. We'll play Odin into Oscorp Tower as well, because I think our win conditions will probably be... let's play it into the Gia. We don't necessarily need the card draw, so we're going to play it into the Gia. We're going to play Odin into the Gia as well, because I think our win condition is going to be this lane and this one, because Dracula is so random. You can't really tell what it's going to draw into, and it's hard to play around, so sometimes, if at all possible, we just avoid playing in that location. Now they do have 4 cards in hand. They're only able to play 1 card this turn, which is fantastic with the Electro Send. We're going to go ahead and lock in the Odin play to re-trigger our Dr. Doom. That is going to push some more power to the left and to the right. And they have 3 options. Well, they now have 2 options for their Dracula to draw into. Maybe, so it's Apocalypse, and then maybe it was something else as well. but we are barely able to hold out the lead into the Lechugia, and we lock down Asgard. Unfortunately, we don't see Black Panther in this first match, but I'm sure he will come up. He's going to be incredibly strong when we see him, but this deck list can hold its own even if we don't draw into Black Panther. All right, so next up we have Saurian, and if you guys are enjoying this deck build, if you want to see more of it, the odds are we're probably live over on twitch.tv/TLSGsnap, so jump over and check it out. We're going to be playing some more live style matches, whether that be later this evening. Oh, our Black Panther gets hit by the Yondu, unfortunately. But whether that be later this evening or a little bit later tomorrow, we will be live over there. So if you're interested in seeing some more like raw footage, definitely jump over there and check it out. It is always a good time. We can do Thor into Atlantis. We can do Wong as a setup on 4 into a turn 5 played. Maybe we get White Tiger. That way we can push some power out wide. If we get Odin, perfect. If not, Dr. Doom is going to be great to drop in the Wong lane. Maybe we get Mjolnir as well. Just as a second turn Venom is kind of strange. Maybe they have an Arnim Zola that's going to be able to push power into the Sanctum Sanctorum. We're just going to need something that can go wide. So we do get the White Tiger. I do now feel pretty confident. We're going to go Wong into White Tiger. Ooh, and then they snap back. Wong into White Tiger into maybe a Dr. Doom. That should give us a pretty full Sanctum Sanctorum lane. So if they are going with that kind of shifting of power with an Arnim Zola, then we are going to be able to counteract how much power they can push. So we drop our Wong. They do a rescue into Muir Island, so maybe they're going to push to lock this one down with the Professor X. But I think we're okay just dropping the White Tiger. That's going to trigger twice. We can most likely get at least one here. And then if it doesn't get locked down, Dr. Doom is going to be great. If it does, then we can still push a little more power into the Sanctum Sanctorum with our Dr. Doom. Okay, so they followed up with a Killmonger, but we don't have any 1-drop, so we don't have to worry about that. Both of our Tigers do go into the Sanctum Sanctorum, which is huge. And then we actually get the upside of getting Odin for our final turn draw. So that is going to trigger White Tiger 4 more times. And so it's going to fill up all but one of these slots. And so we may not be competitive in Atlantis. We may not be competitive in Muir Island, but it depends on where they drop their power. We have a pretty good shot here. And again, Yondu destroyed our Black Panther early. We are going to see some Black Panther gameplay, and they do end up retreating. We are going to see some Black Panther gameplay. We have to at least draw it first. All right, next up we have Night Shadow, and the first location is Bar Sinister, which is kind of crazy. Is there anything weird we can do with Black Panther there? I mean, maybe we can, if we hit Electro here, we could do Black Panther into an Arnim Zola and then re-trigger it a whole bunch of times from Bar Sinister with an Odin to make an insanely large one. It'd be fun. I don't know that that's like the most strategic play, but it'd be fun. They go with an early Iceman. So are they running a Zoo deck as well? This is the third Zoo. If so, the third Zoo or bounce style list that we've ran into. Just unfortunate. All of those Icemen hit our curve drastically, making our already high curve even higher. So we need to rely on drawing into a 3-drop here, which is going to be our Electro. Let's drop Electro into Westview, because if it turns out to be a negative location, that's fine. We want to be able to, but if it turns out to where on reveals won't trigger, then we'd be kind of stuck from that Arnim Zola playline. And so we want to drop it here. That way we have the reliable Nova Roma to play into. And so they go with a Thor drop. They're going to have Mjolnir to cycle in. And so let's see. The hub's not great. It blocks our draw here. Oh, that's not what we need to see. So we're just going to play Enchantress into the hub. That's going to take away Electro's ongoing ability. So we'll be able to play more than one card, but the card draw was devastating. We needed the card draw here to be able to strategically start positioning ourselves. And unfortunately, we don't get that upside. Depending on what we think is going to happen and where we find a win condition. We have Black Panther in our hand finally. I think we just play him so that we can finally say that we've played him. We can hit it with an Arnim Zola on that final turn. It's going to push 16 power here, 16 more power here, but I don't know that outpaces Thor depending on what they drop. So they do a Dr. Doom. So I think we have to go with the Dr. Doom into Bar Sinister. I want to do a fun play with Black Panther, but I think here it's going to be more strategic for us to fill up all of these locations as much or as best as we can. Dr. Doom is going to push 20 power into Bar Sinister. It's going to push 15 more power here, and it's going to push 10 more power into the hub. I think that's going to be more than... They snapped out of confidence, and when I snapped back, they retreated. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Avo category. First location is Luke's Bar, which could get interesting if we draw into maybe a Mjolnir, or for some reason we just had a lot of extra energy. We could keep playing Black Panther there, which could be kind of exciting to see. We're also going to be able to do Electro into Luke's Bar. It'll bounce it back to our hand, but we'll retain that upside of the on reveal. And so actually I think we're in a pretty decent spot. And then what we're hoping for, we don't necessarily need the extra energy. We're gonna push it out onto the board anyways, but I don't think we actually need it. Our ideal playline is going to be a Wong into a Black Panther into an Arnim Zola to pull both of those to the left and right, which I think is going to end up being very, very critical in our win condition. But we are going to drop Electro just because otherwise we're dropping Morph, and I don't know that we necessarily do that in this matchup. Ooh, and so they run an Electro. They have Domino as a way to, I guess, early curve. I'm wondering if they're running a similar deck list to what we are. We do have Thor now, but I think we go with Wong still. Wong into Black Panther seems like the play line that we're gonna want to go with, and they may be doing the same thing. Ooh, they go with Black Panther right off the bat. Interesting. Ooh, and we do draw into Arnim Zola. I want to snap back, but I also want to see this resolve. And so we're not going to snap back. We're just going to play it cool. We're going to play it calm and collected. Let's go with the Black Panther into the Arnim Zola, which is going to potentially outpower theirs. So if we hit the upside of having the trigger of the Wong getting destroyed first, because Wong is going to make Arnim Zola trigger twice. So that's going to destroy both of these cards. If we get the upside of Wong being the first one, Black Panther is now going to trigger 2 more times in both of these lanes and become a 64 power card in both of those sides, which I think is kind of interesting. If they have a Shang-Chi, they of course counter us really heavily with the Black Panther, but it's one of those that we're just going to play and see. They have a leader, which copies, it copies the Arnim Zola, which copies the leader, which copies the Arnim Zola. Oh my gosh, this is going to get nutty so fast. So the Arnim Zola at least caps out the negative zone. That's good. And then, it does copy the Black Panther. Oh no, what is going on? Oh no, we don't get the upside. It copies the Black Panther first. So it's just going to be 32 power in the left and the right lane. We had a chance at the win condition. Unfortunately, it flip-flopped it. It did Black Panther first, and had they not played leader, we would have been fine as well. But we just don't quite have the win condition in Luke's Bar. That leader play was absolutely... The leader interaction with Arnim Zola is always insane to watch. It is always a little scary, a little exciting. You never really know exactly what's happening until it finally resolves, and then all of a sudden there's 100 power on the board. All right, so next up we have Corbin, and the first location is Kunlun. We have Thor in our starting hand, and we have Black Panther. I was just going to say, if we could draw into Wong, that's beautiful. That gives us a really, really big power push potential. We have Thor in one lane as a potential win condition there. If we can draw into Mjolnir naturally on 4 or 5, or even 6, if we draw into it naturally on one of those turns, then we can drop Black Panther. Oh, and then the Wakandan Embassy into our already in hand Black Panther is going to elevate his power level even further. It just continues to get better. I'm going to drop Thor already onto the board in Mirror Dimension. We could potentially get another Wakandan Embassy here and just have an insane Black Panther. That is what we're going to hope that Mirror Dimension turns into, is the Wakandan Embassy. Oh my gosh, and they have Thor of their own. And so we will see. It could turn into Kunlun, but we're hoping for Wakandan Embassy, because either way, whether they have, it is, so that is an 8 power Black Panther naturally in hand. Let's go with a Wong. We can go with Wong into Black Panther, which will trigger twice. That'll put it to 32 initially. If we do Odin, that is going to trigger 4 more times and absolutely be insanely powerful. Maybe we do Black Panther, maybe we draw into an Arnim Zola. We can play that here and push the power to the left and right. But I do think we at least contest with their Thor in the Wakandan embassy lane. That is what we're going to push for. Ooh, and they have a sunspot, which is not incredibly great. We already snapped. Let's go ahead and play our Black Panther. That's going to trigger twice. It's going to initially be, because of the 2 Wakandan embassies, that's going to be a 32 power Black Panther. If we hit it again, that's going to be what, 64, 128, 256, 256 power Black Panther. We would have to draw into Mjolnir to be able to compete with this lane as well. And so, ooh, they had a Black Bolt that made it. Oh my gosh, the dream. So this Mjolnir is now going to trigger 6 times, twice originally, 4 times when Odin triggers twice. This is going to be a massive lane. Now, if they have a Shang-Chi, we of course lose this one, but it's just too much power to turn down. It's just too much power to turn down. We're going to see what they end up dropping. We're going to have a massive Black Panther, and it's just going to continue triggering forever. Oh no, they ended up retreating. So we don't get to see the 256 power Black Panther, unfortunately, or the massive like 60 power Thor, whatever it would end up being. I guess the 42 power Thor. Either way, unfortunately, they end up retreating. Let's jump into one more, see if we can find a win condition where it goes all the way to the resolution and that we don't have the opponent retreat. I think we try to compete for Baxter Building. We have a decent lead here. We don't know for sure what they're going to drop. Okay. All right, so next up we have Saurian. We do have the Limbo location. That's going to give us an extra turn to play out our combos, and so we should be able to get a pretty large, maybe Black Panther. We don't have Odin, so we need to keep that in mind when we're looking for our potential play lines, but otherwise we're fine. Let's go ahead and snap. We have Thor into the Wong play line, and that's by itself is just massive. And then we can always potentially hit Thor with an Arnim Zola to re-trigger it in the other 2 lanes. We just have a lot of flexibility in what we can do on those final couple of turns. The Nexus is interesting. So we can go with, do we go with Thor here? I think we go with Thor into the Nexus. We go with Wong into one of the other lanes along with a Black Panther. We're going to be digging and looking for an Arnim Zola. If we can get Arnim Zola and we can push another 32 or 64 power Black Panther into the Nexus, that's going to give us a lot of upside. And so we are okay with this. I think they're running like a Death Wave or something similar. And so I don't think we have to worry too much about their potential high-end power push. And so let's go with the Wong into Hellfire Club. They do snap back, interestingly enough. So I'm curious what they have. They skip here. They skip on 4. Interesting. And so let's go with the double trigger of Black Panther. We have a couple more turns to draw into both Mjolnir or Arnim Zola and Mjolnir to trigger, either trigger Thor's bonus or push these cards to the left and right and find our win conditions there. So let's go with a Devil Dino into the Nexus, I think. Maybe they have a Shang-Chi, and that's what they're confident in. I don't know. Maybe they're running a deck that has some of those hard counters, and if so, then the wave allows them to drop 2 cards this turn, but us only 1. Oh my gosh, this is the play. This is the play that we've been waiting on. I don't think they drop a Shang-Chi as their only play. They can drop Death, and they can drop one other card. So maybe a Death and a Taskmaster for 24 power push into the Nexus, therefore into all of the lanes. Arnim Zola is going to trigger our Black Panther, so at the very minimum, we're going to add a 32 power here. At the maximum, we can hit Wong first and then Black Panther for a 64 power Black Panther. Let's see if we can get the 50-50 coin flip. That's what we're gambling on. Please stay in, Saurian. We need to see the end of one of these games. So they do split their power. We get the Wong first into the Black Panther. So now if they do have the Shang-Chi, they definitely counter us in the Nexus location. Unfortunately, they wipe out pretty much all of our cards and all of our power. But we have 64 power Black Panther to the left and right. Okay, so they just do Death, and then they do Magneto, which is going to pull our Thor and our Wong, but that's not going to be able to pull our 5-cost Black Panther, which is 64 power into the Nexus lane, allowing us to have a 149 power Limbo and a 77 power Hellfire Club. We will take those 8 cubes And with that, we are going to end the video here. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to check us out over on twitch.tv. We're testing out some streaming over there. Odds are we are either live or will be soon. And so make sure that you're followed over there so you can catch us live. But as always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.